Okay, by the way, major spoiler alert for Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
In the simplest terms, speaking to the nerd in every sense of the word.
No way. Woo! Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Comic John here, and I am on my way to see Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the second installment in the Venom franchise that I am hoping will cross over with the MCU at some point in this movie. I've heard rumors. I haven't read any leaks. Mostly excited to see Woody Harrelson's performance as Cletus Cassidy. I feel like the casting in Marvel movies is basically flawless, and from what I know about Woody Harrelson, one of the greatest actors I've had the joy to watch my pretty much whole life since White Men Can't Jump in the early 90s. I think he's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see the special effects for Carnage, and I am excited to see what I loved about the first one, the relationship between Eddie and Venom. And I'll let you guys know what I think as soon as I get out of the theater. I'm pulling up right now. I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. This is the Movie Co. 20XD. What does XD mean? Can somebody tell me what XD means? Anyway, I'll let you know what I think as soon as I get out of here. I'm just gathering my thoughts here because there are many. Okay, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. But this movie, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, is, I mean, if you're gonna get technical, you could find imperfections, but if you also want to be fairly technical with your assessment of what a comic book movie should contain, this movie has no fat, like at all. And I feel like Andy Serkis needs to make all the movies. He pitched a perfect game. There is no downtime in this movie at all. I mean, every single scene. Now, there is some road construction here, and I gotta make sure I'm not going the illegal route. There is no wasted time in this movie, and as I was watching it, I'm going, you know, in every superhero movie, and in that, 10 to 1% of the movie that I don't like are the slow scenes. There aren't any in this movie. Even the parts with the female love interest, played by Michelle Williams, she was awesome. She's so cool. By the way, I was so wrong about Shriek. I thought she was a symbiote. No, she's just like is she a mutant? I don't know what she is, but she's just got this superpower where she sucks in noise or wind or air and can scream so loud that it messes up Venom and Carnage. Wrong. Shriek is her own character with her own power, I guess, born that way. Again, I don't know a lot about her. I gotta do some research on I gotta hit up Comics Explained. If you haven't visited his YouTube channel, Comics Explained, what is he, like the Encyclopedia Britannica version of comic books? Like, he is the Neil deGrasse Tyson of the comic book world, for sure. And I gotta find out more about Shriek and why she has powers, how she even got her powers. So, I enjoyed her a lot. Okay, back to just how this movie is basically a perfect comic book movie. There's no slow parts. And the additional side, superhuman was a different kind of superhuman. The relationship between Eddie and Venom, which I talked about earlier, they nail you with it in the beginning. It's just so fun. They get along so well. They bicker back and forth. They really get into how Venom wants to protect Eddie. Lethal protector. Oh my God, there's a scene where I jump all around in my reviews, sorry guys. But there's a scene where Venom kind of, I guess, just tells him, like, we're going to be called the Lethal Protector. You know, that's our superhero name. We'll need a cape and a mask. And he's like, Lethal Protector. And he's like, God, that's such an 80s name. So many people laughed over that part in the theater. They didn't hear him say, oh, it's such an 80s name. Because it is. Lethal Protector. I feel like it's from the comics. Again, Comics Explained. I have some research to do tonight on your YouTube channel. If you don't watch him and you want to know kind of like the backstory, because, you know, the movies are the movies and the comics are the comics. They're not the same thing. But the backbone, or at least the feet of all these characters are from the comics. So if you want to get like at least a sturdy base heading into these things, go check out Comics Explained. It breaks it down in like 15 minutes per character. It's perfect. Back to the movie! Jeez! Comics Explained, you're welcome. Free ad. Go check out Real Rejects, Rock Stars, Holden Hartman, all those guys. John Campia, Emergency Awesome. Yeah. Back to the fucking movie that I'm telling you has no boring parts. The action was great. At times, couldn't tell what actually was violently happening to someone, because I bet you Carnage killed people in certain ways that are crazy, but because so much is happening at the same time, the camera angles just keep changing. You miss a lot of the details in the murder, which is fine. You know, I get it. He's just causing carnage. And I loved when the police officer, Graham, I can't remember the guy's full name. I think he played Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire, and I think he was in Gangs in New York. But the FBI agent that kind of was working with Eddie, they got to this security max prison, Ravencroft, where Shriek was being held. And they're walking around after Carnage rescues her, and they're just looking at all the destruction. And in my head, with not even making the connection or the pun, I go, oh, just look at the carnage. So well done, Andy Serkis. Yet again, I'm telling you, this movie has no slow points. I know I mentioned earlier, yes, Woody Harrelson, as always, just knocks it out of the park. Even with the like cheesy, like comic book one-liners that are now kind of like, you know, common phrases, he delivered them, and it wasn't so cheese. It wasn't so cheddary. It wasn't so Colby Jack, Sharp, Cooper, Swiss, Munster, Jarlsberg. He was amazing, like I anticipated. I loved him and Shriek. I loved how when she shrieks to use her power, it kind of like pisses off Carnage, and eventually Carnage almost like kills him, and Cletus is like, stop it, you made it. Like every time Carnage is on scene and he's like causing his destruction, you are on the edge of your seat. Like you feel scared and uncomfortable. I'm telling you, there's no slow parts in this movie, and even the parts that are slow, they have this like charm and humor and just quick to the point dialogue without like, you know, a first draft feel to it. Carnage is just causing mass carnage, just causing destruction, just on the run. He steals this car, they pull helicopters out of the sky, they just throw cars at helicopters. Like he's just basically invincible. Like he's like indestructible. I forget. Oh yeah, okay. And I was like, how does he even win? They're like, holy shit, like it's bad. The FBI agent, Graham, I think his name's Graham, Michael Graham. Damn it. I'll put a little edit with the corrected name. He's trying to find Eddie, and then Eddie's trying to find Venom, because he's like, oh my God, I know why Cletus Cassidy's going crazy, because in the interview, he kept insulting me, and Venom took it personally and smashed him around the room and pulled him up into the cage. And Cletus bites his hand, and he's like, yo, I've tasted blood, and that is not it. What are you hiding? And he like feels the blood on his lip, and he goes like that, and he looks at the blood, and the blood starts moving. He eats it, and then he's getting lethal injection, you know, laying there, and they pump him once, They pump him again, and then all of a sudden his eyes close. Then you see, and everyone's seen in the trailer, the little red pokes back that death serum, and he wakes up, and it all comes out of him, and he just destroys the place. Yo, his entrance, like right before you see him, this like security guard in like the lethal injection room area, you hear only his footsteps. Like it's just a shot of a dark hall, and you hear, and then and he goes and he gets ripped right back, and then Venom comes out, or Carnage comes out, and he just proceeds to destroy the place. So him and Shriek are gonna go get married at this church. There's always like a church. Church is always involved with Venom and Spider-Man, but mostly Venom because it was like a bell tower. But churches, scenes in churches are always, I don't know why, they always work. There's just so much going on at once for so many different people in so many different ways. For some people it's a complete mystery. It's like, oh, I've never even been in one. And some people it's like, I had to go to one every week and I just wanted to get away. But the church, they're gonna get married. And he's got Anne and he's got the cop trapped. And he's like, yo, I need my witnesses, Eddie and Venom. And eventually they show up. And Cletus turns in and they go to battle and they fight. And obviously, I'm not going to explain the whole entire ending, but it was great. The fight was nuts. Like I said, anytime Carnage was on the screen, and I liked how they used the sound again in like a more advanced way, like with Shriek getting involved and the bell getting hit and them snapping back into just Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson, and they're not the CGI character anymore, and they kind of like would fight, just like humans. And then the bell would have been like unrung long enough and they can turn back into Venom or Carnage. And then Venom, again, spoilers, Venom kicks Shriek from the top of the bell tower and she's falling. And gosh, I'm really marveling at Andy Serkis's use, not like special effects, but like detail in using like slow motion and just things that you do that you don't really like think about. Like as she's falling, she's sucking in all this air. She's just going, and then like she's still falling, so she lets it out and she's like, wah! And it knocks the symbiotes off of them. I could have been Shriek. So at the end, the Shriek shrieks and the symbiotes fall off both of them and they land and they're like in a lot of pain. And Cletus is leaning forward trying to get to Carnage that's like rolling towards him. And before Carnage can get there, Venom steps on him and he starts crawling up his leg and Venom picks him off and eats his baby. Gross! Venom goes, fuck this guy, and bites his head off. So they killed him! My one concern. Okay, so I guess I can't call this a perfect movie, no. Because it still worked! As disappointed as I was that they killed him off, like they really kill him, like they bit his head off. They have no more plans for Carnage. I guess, unless, they comic book it and they resurrect and blah, blah, blah. Ooh, wait a second. Never mind. Let's just fucking get to it. The post-credit scene. My theater went nuts. It was like an Endgame feeling, like, Cap getting the hammer. But, like, longer. Like, people were cheering, like, for a long time. They were like, oh my gosh. So Venom and Tom are, like, sitting there in this hotel room, and they're just chatting it up. And he goes, you would think, with all my vast knowledge of, like, eons across a vast, endless universe, I would have been able to avoid a situation like that. Eddie goes, what are you talking about? And he's like, dude, if I could show you all the things that I've seen and all the things that I know, it would explode your tiny little brain. And he goes, yo, do you want me to show you like 1%, like a fraction of what I've seen, like what I've been through? And he's like, yeah, sure. And all of a sudden you hear it like, kind of like Venom, like maybe like trying to like go into Eddie's brain or something to like show him an image. And everything starts shaking. The outside starts changing. A light goes by. Very reminiscent of like things we've seen in Loki and in WandaVision. And then all of a sudden it's daytime. And on the TV, and then the TV starts flickering like WandaVision-ish. And it switches to J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson on thedailybugle.net, continuing the story. It's not the scene from Spider-Man Far From Home. It's like the next day. He's like continuing the conspiracy. Like, we are in trouble. Yesterday, we've all learned now that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And the picture that they use, I mean, it's so badly done. I'm like, yo, did they just throw this in like yesterday? So the picture is Tom Holland with the suit on, but no mask. Like, he was almost like posing. And then the background was just like New York City, like people walking by. So it made it almost look like after they expose him, he hops down off that thing and takes his mask off. And then I guess people start like crowding him. And that's when him and MJ swing away. And that's when it's like, I guess, I don't know. Weird little details. I obviously, there were people that left. People left the theater before the end credits. Anyway, guys, it's gonna take me a while to edit this. I'm sorry, because I've been rambling here. But this movie, I'm telling you, as a comic book movie, there is no fat. It is a lean, just give me the goodness. It has fun, it has humor, it has heart, it has violence, it has action, it has everything. It has special effects. I mean, holy shit. This movie's gonna make $100 million this weekend. My theater was packed. And, I mean, listen to the people that, because, like I said, like, I swear, like 10 to 15 people left. If you guys have seen it, let me know. Tell me what you thought. Is Venom a perfect comic book movie? I don't know. I can't. Yes, but I heard people saying negative things like, oh, it was silly. I'm like, comic? It's comic. See you next week. I gotta go. Sorry, this is the Cinemark 20 Extreme Digital Cinema. Still don't know what XD means. Extreme Digital? Like what? Come on. That is such a gimmick. Alright, come on. Let's go into this Extreme Digital Cinema. XD. Extreme Digital. That's so vague. Alright, I'll see you when I go.